Good day, everyone. Today we are going to talk about Raspberry Pi, which is also called RPI for short. Now, what is Raspberry Pi? The Raspberry Pi is a low cost credit card sized computer that plugs into a computer monitor or TV and uses a standard keyboard and mouse. It is capable little device that enables people of all ages to explore computing and to learn how to program in language like Scratch and Python. Interesting, right? It's capable of doing everything you'd expect a desktop computer can do, from browsing the internet and playing high definition video to making spreadsheets, word processing, and playing games. What's more, the Raspberry Pi has the ability to interact with the outside world and has been used in a wide array of digital maker projects, from music machines and parent detectors to weather stations and tweeting bird houses with an infrared cameras. See? We want to see the Raspberry Pi being used by kids all over the world to learn to program and understand how computer works. What is the history of Raspberry Pi? The birth idea of Raspberry Pi is the idea behind a tiny and cheap computer for kids came in 2006 when Ibn Upton, I'll be showing down below the face of Ibn Upton, and his colleagues at the University of Cambridge Computer Laboratory, including Rob Mullins, Jack Lang, and Alan Mycroft, will be shown also down, became concerned about the year-on-year decline in the numbers of skills levels of a level student applying to read computer science in each academic year. From a situation in 1990s where almost of the kids applying were coming to interview as experienced hobbyists, programmers, and the landscape in the 2000s was very different. A typical applicant might only have done a little web design. Changed the way kids were interacting with computers. A number of problems were identified, which is the colonization of ICT curriculum, with lessons on using Word and Excel or writing web pages. The end of the dot-com boom and the rise of the home PC and games console to replace the Amigas, BBC Micros, Spectrum ZX, and Commodore 64 machines that people of an earlier generation learned to program on. By 2008, processors designed for mobile device were becoming more affordable and powerful enough to provide excellent multimedia. A feature we felt would make the board desirable to kids who wouldn't initially be interested in purely programming-oriented device. The project started to look very realizable. Ibn, now a chief architect of Broadcom, Rob and Jack and Alan teamed up with Petty Lomas. Will be shown down also the picture. MD of hardware design and manufacture company Norcott Technology. Wow. And David Berben, am I pronouncing it right? Co-author of the seminal BBC micro game Elite, to form the Raspberry Pi Foundation to make it a reality. So, this is the first step on making the Raspberry Pi a reality from the scratch. Now, how the foundation and the Raspberry Pi is developed. August 2011, the first Alpha boards were received, powered, and booted, reported on Raspberry Pi org. November 2011, details of the Model B were revealed in a review of the Raspberry Pi. And on January 2012, Beta Model B were up. Good day, everyone. On January 10, 2012, manufacture of the first Model B starts. And on April 19, 2012, the first root file system becomes available for download. April 19, 2012, shipping begins. July 16, 2012, buying restrictions are lifted. September 6, 2012, Model B manufacturing begins in the UK. October 15, 2012, Model B now with 500 MB RAM. November 2012, Model A is now available. January 17, 2013, first Model A is auctioned. February 4, 2013, the Model A is on sale. Very fast progress. June 3, 2013, introducing the new out-of-box software which is called NOOBS. On October 28, 2013, the Pi NOIR infrared camera board is available. On February 28, 2014, Broadcom released full documentation for graphics core. April 7, 2014, announcing the Raspberry Pi compute module. July 14, 2014, the Raspberry Pi B Plus is launched. Some improvements may have been made to produce the Pi Model B Plus, not a version 2, but more of the final design of Model B. On November 10, 2014, the Raspberry Pi A Plus is on sale. On December 28, 2014, changes to the Raspbian desktop, which is the Raspbian LXDE. Desktop and menus get an overhaul with a more consistent pace, reported on Raspberry Pi org. On February 2, 2015, the Raspberry Pi 2 is released. An upgraded Raspberry Pi and has been released. On April 30, 2015, Windows 10 IoT available for the Pi. May 14 and 15, list prices are cut for Raspberry Pi models. On September 8, 2015, the official Raspberry Pi display is launched. And on September 29, 2015, the official Raspberry Pi display is launched. On September 29th and November 26, 2015, the Raspberry Pi Pro is released. Let's compare all the models and comparison about the Raspberry Pi. I will be showing you down or here, maybe here, down here, the different models of Raspberry Pi and the prices you can compare. Also the wired connectivity and wire connectivity and dimensions. You can see you can contrast and differentiate the the model of Raspberry Pi that you want to practice on or you want to use. Okay? I'll give you maybe a few minutes to see the down picture. Now, let's talk about the Raspberry Pi components. What to use. Number one is the ARM CPU or GPU. This is a Broadcom BCM2835 system on a chip SoC that makes up of an ARM Central Processing Unit CPU and a Video Core 4 Graphics Processing Unit GPU. Second is the GPIO. These are the exposed general purpose input-output connection points that will allow the real hardware hobbyist the opportunity to tinker. An RCA jack allows connection of analog, TVs, and other similar output devices. Audio out, this is a standard 3.55mm jack for connection of audio output devices, such as headphones or speakers. There is no audio in. LEDs, light emitting diodes, for all of your indicator light needs. USB, this is a common connection port of peripheral devices of all types, including your mouse and keyboard. Model A has one and the Model B has two. You can use a USB hub to expand the number of ports or plug your mouse into your keyboard if it has its own USB port. HDMI. This connector allows you to hook up a high-definition television or other compatible device using an HDMI cable. Power. This is a 5V micro USB power connector into which you can plug your compatible power supply. SD card slot. This is a full-sized SD card slot. An SD card with an operating system OS installed is required for booting the device. They are available for purchase from the manufacturers, but you can also download an OS and save it to the card yourself if you have a Linux machine and wear it with us. Lastly is Ethernet. This connector allows for wired network access and is only available on Model P. That's all of the components of Raspberry Pi, which is also, I will be shown all of the components down below. I'll be giving you the sample picture of it. And then lastly, I'll be discussing about the Raspberry Pi 4, which is newly released. I'll be also showing you down the picture of the new Raspberry Pi 4. Now I'll be reading some reviews about some people who used the Raspberry Pi already, because I haven't been seeing the Raspberry Pi 4 yet. That's why I'm gonna read some of the reviews of people who used it already. So The Raspberry Pi Foundation has already sent a Raspberry Pi 4 and run some benchmark and share the results. When it comes to connectivity, the two big changes are that you now get through gigabit internet instead of Ethernet over USB 2.0. Now, there are also has two USB 3.0 ports and two USB 2.0 ports, which is 4 USB ports with a different versions, because the other one is 3.0 and the other one is 2, the other two is 2.0. Then the Bluetooth is also updated from Bluetooth 4.2 to Bluetooth 5.0. The final big hardware change is that the full-size HDMI port is gone. Two micro HDMI ports which let you plug two 4K displays at 60 frames per second using one Raspberry Pi. The rest of the specification should look familiar to anybody who has used a Raspberry Pi in the past. They're micro SD card slots so that you can put the operating system and user, which is the same like the Raspberry Pi version Raspberry Pi 3. The updated parts of Raspberry Pi 4 is only the number one is faster system on a chip. Processor now uses Cortex A72 architecture, quad-core 64-bit ARMv8 at 1.5 GHz. It supports H.265 hardware video decoding, for instance. And the Raspberry Pi has been stuck at 5.12 MB or 1 GB of RAM for years. And now, that's all for today, and thank you for watching and listening about all my discussions about all about Raspberry Pi 3. And if you haven't not yet subscribed on my channel, kindly subscribe and hit the button down below, and also click the bell if I have some updates about all the learnings about Raspberry Pi. Thanks for watching! On January 10, 2012, manufacture of the first Model B starts. And on April 19, 2012, the first root file system becomes available for download. April 19, 2012,